Some people say that the most terrifying thing about cicadas is their loud song. But some scientists argue that it is the fact that these insects can spend more than 17 years underground. So what is the reason they do this? Why do cicadas hide in the ground? In today's video, we'll find out. Many cicadas have wings with intricate patterns and vibrant colors ranging from gray to green, blue, red, yellow, and even black. These insects are so beautiful that people often take pictures of them to post on social media. And cicadas themselves don't seem to care what people think of them. They live their lives by singing, eating, and mating. However, there are times when cicadas change their behavior. This happens during molting. Then they stop singing and start looking for a suitable tree on which they'll molt. Having found it, the cicadas cling to the bark and shed their skin. The exoskeleton of the insect is too tight and narrow, so the grown cicada has no choice but to get rid of it. After molting, the cicada's body becomes soft again. It needs time to get used to its new shell. During this period, the cicadas try not to move much and just wait until their exoskeleton hardens. Molting is a very important stage in the life of every arthropod, including cicadas. It allows them to grow throughout their lives. But after molting, adult cicadas live only a few weeks. During this time, they need to find a partner and lay eggs. That's why cicadas spend most of their short lives making noise, attracting females with their songs. Scientists estimate that the louder the song, the more attractive the male appears to the female. And the duration of the mating ritual depends on many factors. For example, on the temperature of the environment. Warm weather means that the mating will be longer. Sometimes the mating lasts only 12 minutes, while sometimes up to 3 hours. This process doesn't always go smoothly. There are cases when males had to literally fight for the opportunity to mate with females. Competition between males is fierce. Each of them wants to pass on their genes to the next generation. And if one male manages to mate with the female, then he wins. After mating, the female cicadas lay their eggs in tree bark or grass and then they die. The males also die. Some die after mating, while others simply can't survive without food. The thing is, adult cicadas don't eat. They just digest the energy they got while still being larvae. But let's get back to the eggs. From them, new cicadas hatch in a few weeks, which immediately dig into the ground and become larvae. They burrow through the soil and hide from predators at a depth of up to several meters. There they stay for the rest of their lives, feeding on tree roots. In fact, cicada larvae are parasites. They suck the sap of trees, slowing down their growth. But the trees have no choice. They can't destroy the roots on which they depend because then they'll die. So, the cicadas feel completely safe. While underground, they have enough food and the predators can't get to them. By the way, the fact that cicadas feed on roots helps scientists determine where exactly they'll come out of the ground. If the larvae are located close to the surface, then the farmers try not to plant crops there. After all, when the cicadas emerge, they can destroy the crop. In general, if the larvae are deep enough, then they can spend up to 17 years underground. Can you imagine 17 years in the ground? Yes, that's how long the life cycle of the largest cicada species can be. But why do cicadas have such long life cycles? After all, they don't live in dangerous conditions. They're not pursued by predators and they have enough food. Actually, everything's fine except for one thing. The thing is, all cicadas emerge from the ground in swarms. Imagine there's a forest and a huge swarm of hungry cicadas emerges from the ground. Having spent so much time underground, they want to quickly compensate for the lack of food. What do you think? Will the trees have time to recover? Of course not. The leaves will be completely eaten in a matter of days, and then the cicadas will begin to devour each other. But nature has provided. Such outbreaks of mass emergence of cicadas happen once every 13 or 17 years. So, the trees have time to recover. If the trees are completely destroyed, then all the cicadas will die. So this system benefits both the cicadas and the trees. But there's another problem. Nature is unpredictable. You can never know if a cold snap will occur. Moreover, severe frosts can last for several days. And if the cicadas emerge from the ground during such a period, then they'll die. However, scientists believe that the long life cycle of cicadas helps them deal with this problem. Let me explain. All cicadas living in the same area belong to the same generation. That is, they were born in the same year and hatched from eggs in the same year. But different generations of cicadas emerge from the ground in different years. That is, for example, the first brood hatches in 2024, the second brood in 2025, and the third brood in 2026. Not all cicadas emerge from the ground every year. This means that some broods will end up in the cold, but most likely it won't be catastrophic. There will always be a brood that makes it to the surface. Sure, it won't be easy. The cicadas will have to endure hunger and fight off predators, but still, there will be descendants. That's why the life cycle of cicadas can be 13 or 17 years. With such a life cycle, they have a chance to survive. You might think that a life cycle of 13 or 17 years is too long. Just compare it with the butterflies. Their life cycle is only 1 to 2 weeks. However, not all cicadas live up to 17 years. In the United States, for example, they usually live 6 years underground. And in China, the great Tuscarora cicada lives only 2 years underground. We don't know what the cicada's life is like underground, but we can assume that they have fun. After all, they spend most of their lives having fun. Sure, there are also serious things like finding a partner, laying eggs and surviving in the ground. But still, it's obvious that life on the surface is harder. Now imagine that you've been living in a dark, narrow tunnel your whole life. You haven't seen the sun for many years, and one day you're given the opportunity to get on the surface, see the sun, and live a normal life. Would you dare? I don't know. I personally wouldn't want to leave my comfortable house, but cicadas behave exactly the opposite. When it's time for them to emerge, they make holes in the ground and crawl out. Imagine you've spent 13 or 17 years in a tunnel and suddenly you find yourself on the surface. You must be in shock. But no, cicadas don't experience this. As soon as they make a hole in the ground, they climb onto the nearest plant and begin to actively explore the world around them. First, they use their legs, antennae and wings to feel the air. Then they spread their wings and fly away. And when billions of cicadas fly away at the same time, this creates a unique natural phenomenon. If you want to see it with your own eyes, then you need to hurry up. The swarm will exist for only about 3 weeks. And when the cicadas finish laying their eggs, they'll disappear. The next time this phenomenon can be observed in all its glory will be in 2024. Scientists predict that in mid-May, hundreds of millions of cicadas will emerge from the ground in the United States. As you probably already realized, the main feature of cicadas is their long life cycle. Spending most of their lives underground, cicadas have managed to create a truly unique ecosystem. Do you want to know more about it? Watch our video in which you'll learn why cicadas glow in the dark. See you later.